Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know there's a lot of new friends here from the TBR board game. Welcome, so excited for you guys to be here. Let's go ahead and go through my April wrap up. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. So overall, I would say April was a pretty good reading month. I read 6 books and a novella, so we'll call it 7, I guess. Overall, I think I had a fair amount of 5 stars, and I continued some series. I don't think I finished any, whoops, but I did continue some. I don't think I started a new one. Fingers crossed. I have so many, I really hope. Really hope I didn't. Anyways, let's get into it. So first of all, I read Daisy Hates, which my copy is on the way to me from the UK because the paperbacks from Blackwell's and Book Depository before it closed, rip, they were way cheaper than they are on Amazon, which I was like, why? So I ordered them from there, and funny enough, Magnolia Parks came. The first Daisy Hates book hasn't come. But so first I read Daisy Hates, and I loved it. I think I liked that even more than I liked Magnolia Parks. This is definitely going to, unless something crazy happens, be just a 5-star series universe for me. I love them. I mean, these are just like addicting characters. Like, I think this is very interesting, and I'm bringing this up with Tomorrow. I read that this month as well. But I saw this thing, I saw someone talk about this on TikTok, and let's ignore the fact that only one of my hands is done. I'm a new mom, folks. I have to paint my nails during nap time and film during nap time and do a lot of things during nap time. So right now, one hand, this one's next nap, okay? We're close. So I saw someone say on TikTok that there's like 3 main things you're looking for in books: characters, plot, and good writing. Sometimes you can look past good writing you can look past good writing. You can look past bad writing if the plot and the characters are really good. A win. This is according to my friend Kristen, whose good writing is her number 1. So if she can look past it, so can we. If you are a plot person, it would seem, if plot is most important to you, it would seem that you cannot do a book where there is minimal plot but great characters. I think a great example of this is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, where you're really just kind of following Addie doing a whole bunch of nothing. I mean, you are, let's be honest. Like, there's a plot there, but a whole lot of nothing is going on. You're really following along with Addie and what's happening in her life, and I love it. It's one of my favorite books. I think it's still in my top 5. I should reevaluate and see what my current top 5 ever would be. But besides the point, I think Addie LaRue is a great example of like a character-driven book. Now, like a plot-driven book, I think a lot of fantasy books are plot-driven. Like, for instance, I would say Throne of Glass, heavily plot-driven. There is something they are striving towards in those books. All of that to say, Magnolia Parks is literally just a character book. There are issues, but there's a whole lot of nothing going on. Plot is your number 1. Books like Magnolia Parks and things like that, they're just not gonna hit for you, for lack of a better term. Characters, I think, are definitely my number 1. I want lovable characters, relatable characters, when I think of my favorite books, what I liked about them the most of the time are the characters. There's a few exceptions to that. There are definitely some. I should just do a whole video on that. But there's definitely some that the plot is the huge point, and that's what I care about the most. Overall, I think I'm a character first person is what I've learned from this. And so with Magnolia Parks, just so you know, if you're thinking about reading them, if you care more about, like, you want some crazy plot and everything to happen, Magnolia Parks is a whole lot of this. I mean, it's a toxic relationship, folks, on all fronts. Every aspect of these couples. I genuinely, when I watch this back, am eager to see what started this tangent, because I have no idea. So Daisy Hates was my first read of the month, and I loved it. I like Daisy, I think, way more than I like Magnolia. Magnolia is very fashionable, don't get me wrong. Go check out the Magnolia Parks Instagram, by the way. If you're reading those books or have read those books and you didn't follow that or look at it, you should. 100% should. 5 million stars to Daisy. I feel like Daisy Hates kind of makes Magnolia Parks to me like 4.5 stars in a sense, because Daisy Hates, 5 stars. 1 million stars. I loved this. I think I loved Julian a lot. I love that we get his perspective, which was fun, but cannot wait to read the second Daisy Hates book. I need it. I will be reading that this month, next month, this month. I don't know. You know, it's a wrap up. You understand what I'm saying. So then of course I read Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. And this was even better than Magnolia Park's 1. I mean, come on. Jessa Hastings cut my heart out and lay it on the table, I guess. This caused me physical pain. I have not had a book traumatize me as much as these books do. But they're so good. I mean, really, I don't know what's in Jessa's... She writes beautifully, by the way. So if you like beautiful writing and characters, these... read them. This is literally, as everyone has said, British Gossip Girl, essentially. High society England with a bunch of beautiful rich people who are all kind of jerks to each other, if we're being honest. It just follows their life. And I love it. Also, the covers are so much more meaningful once you've read the books. So much more. I thought at first I was just like, wow, they're very eclectic and kind of fun. Like, I mean, there's a lot going on here. But they're so much more meaningful once you've read the books. So 5 stars to this gut-wrenching piece of literature as well. I then read, it's so tiny. I mean, this is so small. Magnolia Parks aren't like huge, like, no. They are pretty huge. But like, look at how little. That's so funny to me. This is the first 2 novellas for Shatter Me. The set of them is called Unite Me. My husband keeps saying this and thinks it says Untie Me. It's not what it says, but so now that's what I'm thinking it says. But I read Destroy Me, which according to the reading orders I've read, you're supposed to read that one before the second book. I did not get to the second book this month, I'll tell you. I'll let you in on a secret. Didn't do that. Didn't do that. I don't know if I'm gonna continue this. Somebody convince me to read book 2. I've just got so many series that I wanna read. I'm gonna really need to be convinced. Anyways, I read this novella, Destroy Me. I read Destroy Me. I did not read whatever this one is. Fracture Me. Did not read that one. Just read Destroy Me. And it was good. I honestly, this is from Warner's POV. Okay, yeah, someone tell me, is book 2 in Warner's POV? Because if it is, I'll read it. I love Warner's POV. And I did not like him in book 1. If y'all saw my March wrap up, I was like, how do we like Warner? This guy is a scumbag. That was my cat playing with my son's toy. So when I read Shatter Me, I was like, how do people like Warner? Like, I know that that's who everyone's obsessed with, according to TikTok. Sorry if that's a spoiler for you. I just didn't understand how people liked him. But now that I've read Destroy Me, I think I get it. So if there's more Warner and Warner POV, I could be talked into reading the second book. But I believe I gave this 4 stars. I really liked it. Way better than the first book, in my opinion. Maybe 4.5 stars? We're going with 4. We're gonna stick with 4. Then I picked up for my book club Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and I have the Book of the Year edition from Book of the Month, so it's got these fun little gold guys instead of the normal just Book of the Month blue. I loved this. However, after going to my book club, there were some split opinions of this. This, to me, character book. There is not a plot in this book. There's like a ton of little mini conflicts and resolutions. Like, this is beautiful writing. I should say though, I do think part of why I liked it is because it talks a lot about video games, and my husband and I play video games together. So I liked all the little subtle references. I found every single character unlikable, except Mark's. He is the only character I found likable, completely. And I don't love that, but I think if you can write pretty unlikable characters, I mean, that means maybe they're real people. There are people in real life that are unlikable. There's also very likable people. And I generally like people, so maybe I'm wrong. These people, I didn't like though. Like Sam and Sadie felt irritating to me. And don't even get me started on Dov, or whatever his name is. Couldn't be me. Did not like him. There was one chapter that I thought was kind of wonky, and I originally gave this 5 stars. I might drop it to like 4.5, I think is probably more fair. I enjoyed the story. This is hard because I care about characters so much, and I didn't love these characters, but I loved the story that the characters were a part of, and I loved learning about them, if that makes sense. I don't know. It might not. That might just be my noodle. It's definitely, like, it took me, I think I read this over the course of, like, the whole month. It was a slower read. It wasn't anything I was gonna fly through. But it's, I think, mostly because a whole lot of nothing happens. I was reading this mostly to learn what happened with the characters and read about them developing this video game. I've also not seen anyone discuss the plot of this book. Essentially, this is just two people who meet when they're really young, and I think they're in a children's hospital, but the guy's in the hospital because he has an injury, and the girl is there because her sister, I believe, has cancer, but it's treatable and she ends up being fine. And they just hang out in the video game room, and so their whole foundation is built on video games. And then they go a while without speaking. You learn why in the book. And essentially Meat and Sadie, the female main character, is like, hey, do you still play video games? And gives him a game. And is like, I made this one. And he convinces her to make a video game. And it's kind of following that saga and their life and them after they create the game, while creating the game. I really enjoyed it. There's one chapter toward the end, if you've read this book, if you know, you know, that's like, and it's kind of weird. That definitely drops at half a star, I think. It's weird. That chapter wasn't it for me. But yeah, we'll say 4.5 stars for this. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it, but only if you like character-focused books, because the plot isn't really plotting here. Let's see what else I read. Okay, then I read Flawless by Elsie Silver. I enjoyed this. It was quick. This is a cowboy romance, which I had not read, I don't think, before. I liked it for what it was worth. I don't know if when I read it I was necessarily in like a Kindle Unlimited romance kind of mood, so that totally could be my fault. I liked her writing. I thought it was good. I do feel like there was a couple things that were a bit repetitive. Now looking back on it, I couldn't tell you what those things were. But I really loved their relationship. I thought it was really cute. I gave this 3.5 stars. Wasn't anything crazy. I think if you're in the mood for books like that, like those easily digestible Kindle Unlimited romances, go pick these up. I haven't read the next ones, but everyone seems to really like the other ones as well, so I would say do it. I probably will read the other two later on. Writing wasn't anything crazy. Storyline wasn't anything crazy to me, but it was good. It was an easy little fun romance book. I did like it. I don't love the ending of the book either. If you don't know what that book is about, it follows a bull rider. I almost said cowboy. Follows a competitive bull rider, and he basically has ruined his image with the press. And this girl works for his PR team, agent, whatever, and it's her dad. And she is essentially assigned to be his babysitter and make sure he doesn't like ruin anything or lose any more sponsorships. And apparently he's like smoking hot, and she had a poster of him in her room when she was younger, you know, all that. And so it's her and him hanging out at his family farm and him going on tour. Stuff like there's only one bed trope in this. So we all know how great that is. If you're a fan of There's Only One Bed, it's probably for you. And then finally I read Before We Were Strangers. This book is so good. This book is so good. Why are more people not talking about this book like on other areas of the internet? I've seen like Sarah Caroli talk about this, but I do not feel like I've seen anyone else talk about this book anywhere. I love this. This was a second chance romance. I've decided, I think I love second chance romance. I don't know if I've read that many. This book is phenomenal. I want to read everything by this author. Well, let me clarify. I'm going to read something else, and then I will declare if I want to read everything by her. 5 stars for sure. I mean, I would recommend this to anyone who wants like a rom-com. I don't know if I would say it's... Rom-com is not the right word. This was more like hard-hitting romance, I guess. Before We Were Strangers, if you don't know, is a second chance romance. They meet in college and become instant best friends, and then for some reason they have this huge falling out, sort of, I guess, and they don't speak to each other for a long time. Like now I think they're in their 30s, maybe. They have this 1 year of college best friendship, and then they have this falling out and they don't speak to each other. I mean, it's for a long time. And he sees her and posts a missed connection on Craigslist, I guess. I had no idea this was a thing. Eventually, you know, she sees it or whatever, but you're going back and forth between when they knew each other and were friends and the current present timeline. It was just so good and moving, and they're both very artistic beings. I loved this. I wish I read more romances like this. If you have any recommendations, if you've read Before We Were Strangers and have books like it, please tell me, because that is what I'm looking for. It gave me the same kind of feelings that like Taylor Jenkins Reid books do, if that makes sense. The way that her romances make me feel. It was just so great. Again, 5 stars. If you want a romance, that's gonna be my new romance suggestion. Too good. too good. I mean, there were so many good reads this month, really. I was killing it, I guess, with my picks. April was definitely a good month. I mean, for real. Some of those books were just so good. 10 out of 10 recommend. Let me know if you've read any of those books and if you have any recommendations like Before We Were Strangers. Seriously, I really want them. Please tell me some books like that. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.